Duck is very proud of being Great Western. He talks endlessly about it, but works hard too, and makes everything go like clockwork. The trucks behave well, and the coaches are ready on time, and the passengers even stop grumbling. But the engines don't like having to bustle about. There are two ways of doing things, Duck told them. The Great Western way or the wrong way. I'm Great Western, and don't we know it, they groaned. They were glad when a visitor came. The visitor purred smoothly towards them. The fat controller climbed down. "Here is Diesel," he said. "I have agreed to give him a trial. He needs to learn. Please teach him, Duck." "Good morning," purred the Diesel in an oily voice. "Pleased to meet you, Duck. Is that James, and Henry, and Gordon too? I am delighted to meet such famous engines." And he purred towards them. The silly engines were flattered. "He's got very good manners," they murmured, "and we are very pleased to have him in our yard." Duck had his doubts. "Come on," he said shortly. "Ah, yes," said Diesel. "The yard, of course. Excuse me, engines." And he purred after Duck, talking hard. "You're worthy fat." "Sir Topham Hatt to you," said Duck. Diesel looked hurt. "Your worthy Sir Topham Hatt thinks I need to learn. He is mistaken. We Diesels don't need to learn. We know everything. We come to the yard and improve it. We are revolutionary." "Oh," said Duck. "If you're a rever-thingagummy, then perhaps you'll collect my trucks while I go fetch Gordon's coaches." Diesel, delighted to show off, purred away. With much banging and clashing, he collected a row of trucks. Duck left Gordon's coaches in the station and came back. Diesel was now trying to take some empty trucks from a siding nearby. They were old and empty, clearly had not been used for a long time. Their brakes would not come off properly. Diesel found them hard to move.
"Push, pull, backwards, forwards."
The truck groaned.
"We can't, we won't."
Duck watched the operation with interest. Diesel lost patience. "Grrr," he roared, and gave a great heave. The trucks jerked forwards.
Beware, they screamed. "We can't, we won't."
Some of their brakes broke and their gear hanging down bumped on the rails and sleepers.
"We can't, we won't."
Their trailing brakes caught on the points and locked them solid. "Grrr," roared Diesel. A rusty coupling broke and he shot forward suddenly by himself. "Ho, ho, ho," chuckled Duck. Diesel recovered and tried to push the trucks back, but they wouldn't move, and he had given up. Duck ran quietly round to where the other trucks stood. "Thanks for arranging these, Diesel," he said. "I must go now." "Don't you want these lot?" "No, thank you." Diesel gulped. I've been to all this trouble," he almost shrieked. "Why didn't you tell me?" "You never asked me. Besides," said Duck innocently, "you were having fun being Revo whatever you said. Goodbye." Diesel had to help the workmen clear up the mess. He hated it. All the trucks and coaches were laughing. Presently he heard them sing. Their song grew louder and louder and soon echoed through the yard.
"Trucks are waiting in the yard, tackling them with easel. Show the world what I can do. Gaily boasts the Diesel. In and out he creeps about like a big black weasel. When he pulls the wrong trucks out, pop goes the Diesel."
"Grrr," he growled and scuttled away and sulked in the shed. Dirty work. When Duck returned, he heard the trucks singing. He was horrified. "Shut up," he ordered, and bumped them hard. "I'm sorry the trucks were rude to you, Diesel." Diesel was still furious. "It's all your fault. You made them laugh at me," he complained. "Nonsense," said Henry. "Duck would never do that. We engines have our differences, but we'd never talk about them to the trucks. That would be disgraceful," said Gordon.
"Disgusting."
"Despicable," finished Henry. Diesel hated Duck. He wanted him to be sent away, so he made a plan. Next day he spoke to the trucks. "I see you like jokes," he said in his oily voice. "You made a good joke yesterday about me. I laughed and laughed. Duck told me one about Gordon. I'll whisper it. Don't tell Gordon I told you." And he sniggered away. "Haw, haw, haw!" offered the trucks.
Gordon will be cross with Duck when he knows. Let's tell him and pay Duck out for bumping us.
Diesel went to all the sidings, and in each he told different stories. He said Duck had told them to him. This was untrue, but the trucks didn't know. They laughed rudely at the engines as they passed, and Gordon, James, and Henry soon found out why. Disgraceful, said Gordon.
Disgusting,
said James. Despicable, said Henry. We cannot allow it. They consulted together. Yes, they said. He did it to us, now we'll do it to him, and see how he likes it. Duck was tired. The trucks had been cheeky and troublesome, and he had had to work to make them behave. He wanted a rest of the shed. Whoosh! Keep out! The 3 engines barred his way, and Diesel lurked behind. Stop fooling, said Duck. I'm tired. So are we, hissed the engines. We're tired of you. We like Diesel, we don't like you. You tell tales to the trucks. I don't. You do. I don't. You do. The Fat Controller came to stop the noise. Duck called me a galloping sausage, spluttered Gordon.
rusty red scrap iron,
hissed James. Old square wheels, fumed Henry. Well, Duck? Duck considered.
I only wish,
he said gravely,
that I'd thought of those names myself, if the dome fits.
Ahem. The Fat Controller coughed. He made the trucks laugh at us, accused the engines. The Fat Controller recovered. Did you, Duck?
Certainly not. No steam engine would never be as mean as that.
Now, Diesel, you heard what Duck said. I can't understand it, sir. To think Duck of all engines. I am dreadfully grieved, but I know nothing. I see. Diesel squirmed and hoped that he hadn't. I'm sorry, Duck, the Fat Controller went on, but you must go to Edward's station for a while. I know he'll be glad to see you. Beg pardon, sir. Do you mean now? Yes, please. As you wish, sir. Duck trundled away, while Diesel smirked with triumph in the darkness. A close shave. So Duck came to Edward's station. It's not fair, he complained. Diesel's made the Fat Controller and all the other engines think I'm horrid. Edward smiled. I know you aren't, he said. And so does the Fat Controller. You wait and see. Duck felt happier with Edward. He helped him with his trucks and coaches, and sometimes pushed foreign engines up the hill and helped him with their trains. But Gordon, Henry, and James never spoke to him at all. One day, he pushed behind a goods train and helped it to the top of the hill. Peep, peep, goodbye, he called, and rolled gently over the crossing to the other line. Duck loved coasting down the other side of the hill, running easily with the wind whistling past him. He hummed a little tune.
Beep, beep, beep.
That sounds like a guard whistle, he thought, but we haven't a guard. His driver heard it too, and looked back. Hurry, Duck, hurry, he called urgently. There's been a breakaway and some trucks are chasing us. And there they were, 20 heavily loaded trucks.
Hurrah, hurrah!
They laughed.
We've broken away! We've broken away!
Before the signalman could change the points, they followed Duck onto his line.
Chase him! Bump him! Throw him off the rails!
They yelled, as they hurtled after Duck, bumping and swaying with their ever-increasing speed. The guard saved Duck, though the trucks had knocked him off his van. He got up and ran behind, blowing his whistle to attract the driver's attention. Now what? Asked the van. As fast as we can, said the driver grimly. Then they'll catch us gradually. They raced through the station, whistling furiously, but the trucks caught them with a shuddering jar. The fireman climbed back, and the van's brakes came on with a scream. Braking carefully, the driver gained control. Another clear mile and we'll do it, he said. They swept round a bend. Oh glory, look at that! A passenger train was pulling out on their line, in the station ahead. The driver leapt to his reverser, hard over full steam and whistled. It's up to you now, Duck, he said. Duck put every ounce of weight and steam against the trucks. They felt his strength.
On!
They yelled. but Duck was holding them now. I must stop. I must. The station came nearer and nearer. The last coach was just clearing the platform. It's too late, Duck groaned. He shut his eyes. Suddenly, he felt a swerve and slid, shuddering and groaning along a siding. A barber had set up a shop in a wooden shed in the yard. He was shaving a customer. There was a sliding, groaning crash as half the wall caved in. The customer jumped nervously, but the barber held him down. It's only an engine, he said, and went on lathering. Beg pardon, sir, gasped Duck. Excuse my intrusion. No, I won't, said the barber crossly. You frightened my customers and spoiled my new paint. I'll teach you. And he lathered Duck all over his face. Poor Duck. They were pulling the trucks away when the Fat Controller arrived. The barber was telling the workmen what he thought. I do not like engines popping through my walls, he fumed. They disturb my customers. I appreciate your feelings, said the Fat Controller, and will gladly repair the damage. But you must know that this engine and his crew has prevented a serious accident. You and many others might have been badly hurt. The Fat Controller paused impressively. It was a very close shave, he said. Oh, said the barber. Oh, excuse me. And he ran into his shop, fetched a basin of water, and washed Duck's face. I'm sorry, Duck, he said, and I didn't know that you were being a brave engine. That's all right, sir, said Duck. I didn't know either. You were very brave indeed, said the Fat Controller. I'm proud of you, and I shall tell the workmen to give you a new coat of paint. Oh, sir, Duck felt happier than he had ever been for weeks. And now, said the Fat Controller, when you are mended, you are coming home. Whom, sir? Do you mean the yard? Of course. But, sir, they don't like me. They like Diesel. Not now, said the Fat Controller. I never believed Diesel. After you went, he told lies about Henry, so I sent him packing. The engine is very sorry and want you back. So a few weeks later, he came home shining with a new coat of paint. There really was a rousing welcome for Duck the Great Western Engine.